$58 million.
I only saw it spun in a good way in that Ant-Man was actually for the Marvel franchise. It was a low-budget film, and it made a lot of money its first weekend.
Well, I've heard this morning the announcement that Ant-Man crawled to the #1 spot.
Oh, no. You're kidding.
Yeah.
No, it was...
I said, how can you... It was #1.
Well, that's just the idiot news guys and stuff. You know, it's so funny. I was listening to a newscast, and, you know, this report came out, which, by the way, is not... I don't make $95 million a year. I make a great living, but I don't make $95 million a year. But there was a report out that I make that from Forbes. And so that triggered a lot of local news people reporting this. And for some reason, they don't normally even comment on anything. But when it comes to me, everyone feels they have to comment. And so here's a local anchorman in Fargo, North Dakota.
Oh, dear.
NBC guy. And he can't believe that I make this kind of money. And it's so great because he's such a fucking retard that... Of course you can't believe it. You sit on television in a blazer
on a sheet of ice
reading in Fargo, North Dakota because you're content with not taking any risks in your career. You're a Midland reader of the news in a field that relies on you being handsome, and you take no risks. The reason I make this kind of I make people laugh for a living. I entertain them. I mean, it's absurd for him to comment on what I make.
Okay, pop star Katy Perry.
I think this guy thinks he's in the same business as me. Like, I put no effort into this. This is easy.
Okay, pop star Katy Perry, 3rd place. She earns a mere $135 million. Boy band...
Notice he had nothing to say about that.
No.
That he can comprehend.
It's okay.
But when it's a fellow broadcaster, that's when they can chime in.
One Direction, love them.
You really love One Direction? I love them. I think she's trying to somehow think she's relevant, but it makes her sound like more of a dork. No one loves One Direction.
I'm sure 12-year-olds love
12.
One Direction.
No, by 12, you're out of One Direction. At 7, you love One Direction.
Oh, my goodness.
And 4th, Howard Stern is still around.
Is still around.
Still around.
I'm on NBC at night on America's Got Talent on the same channel she's on, except I'm on nationally, she's on locally, and Howard Stern is still around.
Stern, 5th place. He earns $95 million a year. And then Taylor Swift, tied with...
Howard Stern making $90 million?
Howard Stern making $95 million. How? If you could figure it out...
Because he makes people money.
Yeah, there's no secret to it. I get millions of people to listen to me, and then advertisers advertise and/or subscribers. That's the secret.
Don't you know how the industry works?
And, douche, you can do the same thing. Leave Fargo, get a show, and work on your comedy chops, and work on being interesting.
But he acts as if he doesn't even know how money is generated in broadcasting.
He wants to know why he's not making $95 million.
I don't know.
Listen to this guy.
Sirius Radio.
I know Sirius Radio, but I mean, honestly, the guy's got that kind of ad revenue. He's pulling in $95 million.
So here's a guy in broadcasting. I'll show you how out of it he is.
He can't believe it.
He goes, wait a second. He brings in that kind of ad revenue. No, I don't bring in that kind of ad revenue, you idiot. We have subscribers. We have... You know, here's a guy in broadcasting who doesn't know that Sirius is up to 9 million subscribers.
But that's my point. He doesn't understand the industry.
He goes, I don't understand how they make that much ad revenue.
Is that really happening?
No, we don't rely on ad revenue. Yeah, I mean, there is ad revenue. I mean, we have commercials, but not that many. I just spoke for a half hour. You didn't hear a commercial. I mean, yeah, we've got Squatty Potty and Ashley Madison, but...
and everybody wants them.
Could a broadcaster really never open up Broadcast Magazine or Billboard Magazine or the newspaper and not know that Sirius is a subscription-based service?
He's crazy, and people love to listen to all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. That makes a couple bills for that.
Well, she's the smart one. She figured it out. He's crazy, and people love to listen to that stuff. I think she said stuff.
Yeah, she put a couple extra syllables and stuff.
She had to mumble it because it's confounding them that I make a living. Sirius Radio is the best thing that ever happened to Fargo, North Dakota, because they can now get national programming on their radio and not have to be stuck listening to 2 nitwits who don't understand the business. Can you imagine being in broadcasting and not understanding that Sirius is a subscription-based service and that's how we make our money?
And that you do the biggest thing on Sirius?
Yeah, and she doesn't know I'm still around, and I'm on at night on Tuesday nights.
On her network.
On her network. It's all incredible. One Direction she comprehends.
And I wonder why they're not making that much.
Fucking idiots. 2 imbeciles doing the news. You know what it is? They hear a broadcast or whatever. It drives them crazy. Howard Stern is making that kind of money. I don't know how. Do they really have that much ad revenue?
It's really confounding them. I mean, they should have read this story before because this sounds so stupid on the air.
Yeah.
You know, they should have had this conversation off the air.
Maybe they should have had a psychiatrist work through it with them so they can comprehend how much money I make and why I make it. Wow. The reason I work so hard is so I wouldn't have to live in Fargo, North Dakota. Honestly. No offense if you live there.
We almost live in Fargo.
I'm pretty sure if you're living there, you're trying to get out.
It ain't that great here in the wintertime.
Right. Gee whiz. I didn't know Fargo still existed. Good Lord. Well, anyway.